Well, I'm Dekoven Riggins. I am, it's 1/3 of the ownership at Notis Studios. We are a full-fledged film production house. We do everything from development to distribution.
And I am Marcus Brown, and all of that he said.
I have a bachelor's in business from Langston University, a master's in urban education from Langston University, and a doctorate in higher education from Argosy University.
And myself, I just have, it pales in comparison, but I just have a regular degree in arts and ethics from Mid-America Tech. I can't even say it now, Mid-America University.
I spent many years working in higher education. Right after undergrad, I actually started working for Enterprise for a while, worked for Frito-Lay for a little while after I got my bachelor's in business. Shifted to working in higher education from there, hence why I went on to get a doctorate in higher education up until about 2015. And then I left higher education and started a couple of companies on my own. And in 2019, we got together and started Notis Studios.
Me, myself, I am military is where I've been since 2006. So I was 88 Mike, which is a motor transport operator in the military. Went to Iraq in 07 through 09, got hurt 2008. 2010, when from 09 to 2010, I was a 92 Foxtrot, which is just, I worked in an office, so to speak. So I did a lot of go here, go there, do a lot of computer technical stuff. And then I got out of the military, retired, and I wasn't really doing anything until 2019, where we started doing this.
When it comes to filmmaking specifically, a lot of internet people, essentially, YouTube, buying courses. So no one directly hands-on, especially right on. I'd say more recently, within the past couple of years, we've become pretty close friends with Matt Payne. He's given us certain insights to certain things and just letting us see certain things or on a larger scale. So, but for the most part, not really.
Yeah, I'd say I love what we do. It's a dream since I was a child. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely enjoy it. There are days where I wake up and we go to the office and I'm like, we get to do this every day. It's pretty dope. And it always has its challenges, just like any other job or any other career path has its challenges. But yeah, I'm glad I get to do this one.
Let me think. That's part.
For me, getting to help people achieve dreams, whether it be us helping them edit, us giving advice on this or that. We also are teachers. We teach students at high school level. So getting to inspire the youth in doing this. And I'd say that in a close second would be just providing entertainment to people, getting to see people watch the things that we create and have the experience of watching something new and fresh.
For me, I guess the best part about it, one, is being able to find, like, this is something that I feel I was made to do. So it comes very naturally, whereas everything else I've ever had to do, I had to work much harder, if that makes sense. Like, it's a lot of work, don't get me wrong, but this feels like this is what I was supposed to be doing. But then, like he says, to be able to see people enjoy what you create, and then to see the things that come from your mind on that screen, it's an amazing experience. That's why you get so addicted to it the first time you see your name on the screen or yourself on the screen. So just love it, man, love it. Yeah, that
I'd say for me specifically is not necessarily having those kind of mentors that have done what we've done already. So really having to forge new grounds and figure it out without kind of being blind almost at times with, okay, what's the next pathway we have to take, because we don't really have someone that we can truly follow and say, okay, this is the pathway. I say that might be the worst part of it.
For me, time away from my family is worse. I'm huge on my family, so to not be able to be around them as much, but I guess it's a valley because I'm not around them as much, but I'm trying to build something for them. So that's kind of the motivation that keeps it going. Yes.
Absolutely. One of the biggest things I'd say about the film industry is that no matter what industry you work in, those skill sets apply to film. And so oftentimes when people are looking for a career shift or looking what's next for them where they can step into, film is also something that you could definitely do no matter what you've done before.
Yeah, I say this is one of the only industries where you can put a group of people in a room and everyone give you a different opinion about something they're seeing. So no matter what you do in film, you're never going to get everybody to think the same. So someone will catch something small that you did where someone else might miss it, so they have to go back and watch it again, and it just causes so much conversation. So that's amazing.
Biggest failure. That's interesting because I don't look at failing. It's not something that happens. There's just opportunities to learn and grow. And we've had many opportunities to learn and grow. From our first film that we did, there were so many things that we didn't know that gave us opportunity to learn on to our second project and third and fourth and fifth. So to us, or I definitely say for myself, we don't have any failures, we only have opportunities to grow.
I'm gonna go with that. Good. Winning the Emmy right now. And I don't even feel like that was huge yet. I feel like that was just a moment of, I don't want to even call it validation. It's just, that's the biggest thing we've achieved, but that's just the beginning.
Sure. Mindset is everything. You hear it a lot as kids and coming up. You can do whatever you put your mind to. It's so real. The more we push ourselves, the more we think about what if we try this, or what if we do this, or I want to do this or do that, we end up doing it. The things that we say we can do, we do. Regardless of how out of the box it is, how challenging it may be, just from the sure statement, but really your mindset will take you as far as you can go. So if you think you can do something, you'll do it. If you don't think you can do it, you won't.
For me, I'd always say to stay vigilant in what we do, but be diligent in how much you work. Don't worry about what you're missing. Don't worry about what's going on outside. Be focused on what you're trying to create, the world you're trying to build, what you're trying to give to an audience, and always put your best work out and don't just rush. So that's where I go into the vigilance and the diligence. If you keep those two mindsets together, everything you do is always going to be the best you can put out at that time.
Our own pockets. We've been a self-funded organization since we started. That's one of I think the biggest things that we have is if we won't invest in ourselves, why would we expect someone else to? And so, yeah, the money that we had, we put into the business, and yeah. That's still a process because we continuously grow, and when you grow, it's at a cost often. And so, with our new venture, as far as the sound stage, was something that we just took on last year. Yeah, we're still in the process of working to break even. I'd say from the first time we started, it took us less than a year to break even. And then we made a step up into another investment. And then we quickly caught back up to that. I want to say probably about another year. And then we went into the stage. So we've kind of grown rapidly, but as we grow, it takes more investment, so yeah. Still in that stage. We're still I'd say we're a young company because we've taken shifts and turns. I'd say from the beginning, we decided we wanted to be, we weren't quite sure what we wanted to be as a production company. Is it producing commercials? Is it producing wedding videos? Is it doing the gambit, doing everything? Until we landed on filmmaking. And once we did land on filmmaking, that was a process of, okay, well, we're gonna do a lot of post-production. We're gonna make our own things and do a lot of post-production. Okay, now we're at the level of, we're building out a infrastructure for multiple people, many people who are interested in independent filmmaking. And so scratching out a living on that side of things is where we're building and growing right now. I say we do all right for the business to be sustaining itself. As most entrepreneurs know, typically you're feeding the beast until you hit that tipping point. But we've been fortunate that we've been able to make enough to let the beast feed itself and for us to continue to hit growth markers without having to pour too much into it. But we're still working on scratching out that living for ourselves, and we know we're on the right trajectory right now.
That's a good question.
Faith first. It's always been a big part of our lives. Being in connection and in tune with what God's telling us to do has always put us in the right spot. And so if God says yes, then we go. If he says no, then we stop. That has been one of the biggest things. Our faith teaches us how to manage a household, how to be good stewards of our funds. And so we just carry those same principles into our business life. And then there's many principles within our faith that teach us how to be shrewd businessmen, how to make deals and do different things in that aspect. So I'd say our faith is where it started and starts. And then another big thing that we are big on is education, and not in the traditional sense of I got to go to college to do it, but YouTube University is real, alongside with other courses that people sell out there, and finding the right books and things like that to dive into, the right articles to read, constantly feeding your mind about what you're wanting to do and accomplish. I think those are the things that I know that we've put into it to get to where we are. Black Wall Street burning. Yeah, I feel like that's, if you had to say like that, really kind of catapulted
It put us on the map.
Yeah.
Made us legitimate.
Making the first feature film narrative about Black Wall Street, still the only narrative feature about Black Wall Street at a particular time, which is still weird. Like when we started the company, I'd say God put it on my heart to make that movie. I don't know why, but that was like our first meeting. I said, cool, we started this company, but we got to make this movie. And I really can't tell you, outside of God pushing me on it, that's the only reason why. And not even thinking about the timing of when we did it, but we were like a year before the 100-year anniversary when we released. We weren't even thinking about the 100-year anniversary. We were just like, we got to make this movie and we got to put it out. And the interesting thing, I remember we was like, we were gonna put it out. We started filming in 2019. And I was like, okay, the end of 2019, we finished filming in December. It's like, okay, we'll put it out in April. That'll give us plenty of time to get the editing done. And then I remember coming to you and was like, I feel like God's telling us to do it in February. And I was like, we got 2 months. We really got less than a month, almost 2 months to get this done. And we did, luckily so, because COVID hit in March and it shut everything down. And we were rolling at that time in theaters across the US, the western half of the US. And we were being asked to come to other places. But I'd have to say that was our big break because it allowed for many people to see us across the country. And
I think it was good how it happened and how it happened so fast, because it was snowballing and we were supposed to be going to all these places, but I don't think we were ready yet.
Yep.
You know, we weren't like where we are now as filmmakers compared to where we were then are two totally different spectrums. So I think we got a early view of what it can turn into.
Yep.
Enough to go, okay, so whatever we were already doing, we need to turn that up. Yep. Because the next film we do, if it gets this big, we need to be ready for this and ready for that. And we need to be putting out something that looks better and sounds better.
Yep.
So I think Black Wall Street, it was our big break in ways where it showed Oklahoma what we were capable of. It showed the world, actually, because it's been shown in 18 different countries.
Yeah.
So it showed the world what we were capable of, but it got us on the track of, okay, so now if we were running at 5, we need to be running at an 11 right now. So that's what really ramped us up, and now we've been so laser focused and locked in on just being the best version of Notis Studios we possibly can.
Short term, we're about to launch a program for independent filmmakers that are interested in producing feature films. So that'll be coming out within the next 4 to 6 months. We'll start rolling some things out here probably in the next couple weeks. Our goal is to get more independent filmmakers ready to put out feature films. And we see it so often, and we were just talking about it today, it's like, how many of our friends that are independent filmmakers have put out features? None. Everybody makes short films, and I get it because that helps you cut your teeth. But we live in an era where you could really put out a short film in 4 months. I mean, put out a feature film in 4 months and have it distributed on platforms like Amazon and Tubi and starting to generate some income from your first feature film. And so our goal is to inspire and to help others get there. And again, it starts in their mind first. So that's the first short-term goal. Within the next, say, 4 to 6 months, we'll be putting that out. Long-term, we've launched a streaming platform. Our goal is to take Oklahoma over from a streaming standpoint and to continue to generate a space for filmmakers here in Oklahoma to produce and put out their films and to profit share with us, and then to work with local businesses to promote to a set audience and to get Oklahomans watching Oklahomans do their thing on film. So long term, that's the thing that we want to grow and build up and use as a funding source for independent filmmakers. Always, but no. Film is it's not new in Oklahoma. They've been making films in Oklahoma for a very long time, but it is bustling. Mm-hmm. And so with that, we're kind of in the wild, wild west of filmmaking in Oklahoma. You're starting to get a lot of people coming in, a lot more people making films in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's getting more organized as a film state. but it's so new that financially the legislator doesn't take us extremely serious. So they won't throw dollars our way the same way that they would into energy or to other things. And so that kind of hinders what the smaller companies and little guys can do from a rebate standpoint or a tax incentive standpoint. But for us, again, mindset is everything. So there's always a way, regardless of regulatory things.
I say another hurdle is just we don't have enough community as filmmakers in Oklahoma. There's a lot of filmmakers, but there's no community, if that makes sense. So that would be, for me, the biggest hurdle. I think if we all started coming together, pooling resources, pooling talent, and really pushing each other to put out, these things, our content, period, and just showing the world what Oklahoma can do once we come together. I think that's a hurdle we definitely need to jump over. We have to get over this. This is my company, and this is my company, but instead look at Oklahoma as just a hub of film, and then we all come together and start putting things out.
It's expensive. It can be expensive. Let me caveat it. It can be very expensive. One of the things that people say about filmmaking is it doesn't matter what gear you have, just go make something. You can make a movie, you don't need to. And they are absolutely right. But the higher you want to go, especially when you talk about quality, the more expensive this business gets. And we talk about it all the time, how we picked one of the most expensive businesses to be a part of. And you don't really think about it, but every department in a production is a business. It's somebody's whole business that they've pumped tens of thousands of dollars into. So as you're running your own production company, you got to cover every department, which means you got to pump tens of thousands of dollars into each department at some point. There's a place where you start, but as you want to grow and ratchet up, that is a big one.
Yeah, I'd say time.
That too.
You're going to sacrifice a lot of your time if you are truly dedicated to this. So be ready for that, to be able to dedicate more of yourself to this pretty much than to anything else. But the payoff is huge, if that makes sense. So you have to just weigh that. Because if you're only putting an hour or two into this, then you're only going to get an hour or two of worth out of it, if that makes sense. So if you're going to really dive into this, I'd definitely say be understanding that time no longer becomes your own. It becomes your films or even your companies. So you got to be willing to sacrifice that.
Not bankruptcy, no. Definitely the challenges of now owning our own building, got to make that mortgage payment, got to pay insurance, got a lot of things to pay. But we haven't been at a point to where it's like, oh man, we're not going to be able to make our payments. God willing, we aren't ever in that position, but we've been blessed to do this the way that we've done it. Again, and I'd say it again, I believe it's God-led. Right before we decided to buy the building, we signed a contract. And it wasn't even a thought that we were buying the building because we got the contract. We were going to buy the building because we felt led to do so. And then we got the contract that pretty much covers, what we need to do. So, fortunately for us, we have not been in that position. I won't say we advertise like that. Just do good work.
Yeah, and even customers or viewers.
Both, yeah.
Yeah, that we just I don't. Here, we just put out good stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So I think because it's multifaceted, what we do, not only do we work with other people who are wanting to produce stuff, we do produce our own things. So then we do have customers on that side of the spectrum as well. So we do kind of advertise when we're putting out our own projects through social media and word of mouth and different things like that. Through our premieres, we get some lead generation that way. But when it comes to working with clients, it's really most of it's word of mouth because we've done things for other people, put out really good content, and yeah.
It's I concur with that. It's usually just our biggest way is word of mouth. Someone saw something we did and they asked somebody who did it, and it's like, well, they're over here, and they come call us or they just walk in, and we go from there. Well, with the partners, I mean, we all go to church together, so
Yeah.
we pretty much brothers. It's no big deal. We have our little moments, but I mean, that's brothers. Is what they do. But in all, I think our best thing as a team with the three of us is we have a standard that sits above us. So as long as we keep God as our head and He's our standard, everything that we go through, we have someone that we can always go to find out exactly how things should be handled. I'll let you take the other side.
Yeah, I think we're very just open, transparent with each other about what's going on in the business, what we need from each other. We're not afraid to just be real with each other about whatever it is we're doing. If we need more of something or this isn't right, or we're all open. We know we all want the best for the business and we want the best for each other. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest things.
Yeah. And I know we're supposed to be talking to your watchers, listeners. So a big thing when you have partners, and Dekoven says this a lot, is what's the goal? So if the goal is to make the best feature we can make, you may have to sacrifice some of the things that you want, or maybe some of the ideas that you have for someone else who may be better or maybe easier or cheaper to do. So what we like to say is the only thing we're married to is our wives. That's it. So I don't care what idea I have, I'm not married to it, so I'm willing to change it. Yeah. And as long as you keep that mindset, it's harder to have pushback and fight on everything, because I'm just not going to hold on to this idea. I think a lot of times you get bad films because certain people this is the way I want to do it. But we got to remember, what's the goal? Are we trying to make the best film that we're going to enjoy, or the best film for our viewers to enjoy? Yeah.
Yeah. Say several ways. We've been working on a project, Prairie Surf, about the Jewel Theater, working to restore the only freestanding building on 4th Street from the time of the Deep Deuce era. And so our goal is to continue to work with that project, not only from the documentary side to get people more aware and interested in help revitalizing it, but after it's open and during the construction phase and all of that, we're working with Vanessa Morrison from OU on its reconstruction and its programming and all of the things, and the Jewel Foundation. We're working with everybody to try to make sure we can get that to be a space for filmmakers and for the community at large to come back and start watching cinema at the oldest freestanding Black cinema in Oklahoma City.
We also teach film at Douglas High School. Spoke on that earlier. So that we work with brand talkers to do that. And that's an amazing experience to be at a historically Black high school in Oklahoma with Frederick Douglass High School. So that's amazing. And we're really bringing up the next generation of filmmaker. And not just filmmaker, but teaching the kids that you don't just have to make films, you can work behind the scenes and all that. Those are different businesses. And if you want to go to college to be anything, you want to be an engineer, you can still translate that to film. So just really showing the kids that we're teaching you a skill you can walk out this classroom right now and go use, but you don't have to give up on those other things you wanted to do, but you just integrate those into films. I really think we get a lot out of just teaching those kids. Yeah.
Self-care plan. Not in the way I would say most people think of a self-care plan. Again, let the AC do its thing first. But again, very rooted in our faith. And so walking through the principles of our faith helps us keep a balance. And when we do feel things getting out of line, we lean on our community. And it really helps us stay centered, stay focused, keep what's important top of mind. And if we need a break, then we take one. And that's the beauty of having partners. One of us need to, hey, I need to disconnect, and we can do that.
Yeah, and I'll say having families, having spouses, you know, some businessmen can see that as a detriment. But I think being around, you know, all three of our wives, they do take a lot off of us as well.
Absolutely.
Especially like, you know, my wife, I come home, she gives me my time, all these things, or I can bounce that. I love doing that, how we bounce things off our wives. Or watch this and tell me what you think. Like Dekoven's wife is real, 100%. She's not gonna hold your feelings into consideration. She's gonna tell you what she thinks. But I love that because the audience isn't gonna hold their feelings. So you need that. So no, I think our faith and our families are the things that are, that's self-care for us.
Google everything Notis Studios. That's Notis Studios. You'll find our website. You'll find our social medias. You'll find articles. You'll find everything if you're looking for us. If you just Google Notis Studios, Notis.
Yeah, we everywhere.
Well, gentlemen, from all of us at Turtlesmith.com, thank you very much for your time.
Yes, sir.
for having
Thank you.
us.